Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the September 9th Lebanon Board of Works meeting. Our first order of business will be the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilman, or Robertson, would you lead us, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next we'll move on to the roll call of members. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Sure. Mayor Gentry.
Present.
Jane Taylor.
Present.
Bill Stoner.
Present.
Dick Robertson.
Present.
Alan Milburn.
Present.
Thank you.
Okay, next we'll move on to the approval of the minutes from our previous meeting. Any changes or edits to the amendment or to the minutes? Okay, we entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I make a motion we approve the minutes.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I second the motion.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, those minutes are approved. All right, now we'll head on to department head reports. First up is Police Department. We have Major Bales tonight.
Good evening. During the period of August 27th through today's date, Lebanon Police Department responded to 671 calls for service and made 31 arrests. A total of 6 handgun permits were issued. Arrests are the following: 1 on a warrant 7, 6 for domestic battery, 6 for possession of methamphetamine, 3 for possession of marijuana, 3 operating while intoxicated, 2 dealing in marijuana, 1 dealing in methamphetamine, 1 possession of child pornography, 1 driving while suspended, and 1 possession of a device to interfere with a drug or alcohol test. Officers McCloskey, Robertson, and Wright graduated from the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy on September 5th, and they have started their FTO training with our field training officers, which should last approximately 12 weeks, and we're eager to get them out on the road and excited to have them. The department conducted firearms training on September 3rd, which consisted of our department qualifications, and nothing else to report currently.
Thank you, Major. Any questions for Major Bales?
No.
Any questions for the public? Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next up is Fire
Thanks.
Department, Chief Batts.
Good evening, everyone. Since the last Board of Works meeting, Lebanon Fire has made 131 emergency calls of service, logged 353 training hours, performed 34 commercial inspections, installed 2 car seats, and we also participated in 1 public education event. Firefighters Jacob Fussell, Tyler Gary, and Alex Knipp are currently going through Fire Instructor 1. This course will be completed on October 12th. Fire Instructor 1 is a certification they need to become ride-out officers. And ride-out officers take the place of our captains and lieutenants when they're off on a personal day, a Kelly day, a vacation day. Our ride-out officers will step up, and we have mandatory certifications that those individuals must meet. And they are stepping up and doing a great job for us. On September 5th through 7th, Sam Doherty participated in a 3-day symposium on building construction, and this was at the Avon, Washington Township Fire Department. This coming Wednesday on September 11th, Lebanon Fire is hosting a 9/11 memorial ceremony. The ceremony begins at 9 a.m. We are going to raise a 30 by 60 American ladder flag at 8:30. We've incorporated several public safety agencies from around Boone County to come and speak. Division Chief of Training Dave Owens with the Whitestown Fire Department. He will be one of our speakers. Chief Owens is a retired deputy chief with the IFD, and he was on Task Force 1, and he was there on September 12th. So it'll be a very unique perspective hearing Chief Owens speak. So we're looking forward to that. We want to encourage everyone to come. This is open to the public. We will have extra parking across the street, so we hope everyone can attend. On Sunday, September 8th, Lebanon Fire and the Lebanon Fire Auxiliary hosted a softball tournament, and this tournament was different public safety agencies like Pike Township, Whitestown Fire, Boone County EMS participated in a softball tournament, and all funds raised benefited the Boone County ARC and also the Special Olympics softball team. And a very cool caveat with that is after the games, each of the teams would play one inning with the Special Olympics team. And it was just it was a great time. Everyone enjoyed it, and we were able to raise a lot of money for them. And this was also done at Abner Longley Park, and just want to say that John Messenger and the parks crew, the park looked great. It's just amazing. We had quite a few fans come out and watch. It was a really good time. So throughout the month of August, we've done a lot of upgrades to the Boone County Trading Tower. We've installed new drainage infrastructure, as well as 37 yards of flat work concrete. And this was all done by the Lebanon and Whitestown Fire Departments as sweat equity. So we use the on-duty crews and the admin staffs of both departments to come out and work at the tower over several days. And this is also a taxpayer benefit because we're not paying subcontractors to come out and work at our tower. We're doing the work ourselves. So I just want to say thank you to the Whitestown Fire Department for all the sweat equity and labor that they were willing to put into the tower. We have a great facility out there.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions for the board, Chief?
Is that 9:30 Wednesday or
9 o'clock on
9
Wednesday.
o'clock? Okay.
We're going to raise the flag at 8:30, which it's kind of cool to watch that giant flag go up.
Oh, okay.
Any questions for the public? Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Chuck.
Next up, Parks Department, John Messenger.
Thank you. Good evening. Seashore Water Park. Golly, I need to start bringing my glasses anyway. Seashore Water Park closed this last weekend. We had real nice weather for it. I want to thank everybody for everything coming out and continually making this community a wonderful place. A special thank you to all our pool staff as they kept everybody safe and had a good time for everybody, so I want to thank them. The splash pad is still open. It will stay open from 10 to 6 daily. Weather permitting, we're going to close it if the water temperature or the air temperature is 70 or below. We will not open the splash pad. Anyway, really is a popular place. I think it'll be real popular this week, so it's nice to have something to go back on. A co-ed sand volleyball tournament will be held Saturday, September 21st at the Sam Thayer Memorial Volleyball Courts at Memorial Park. Registration is now open. There again, we'll close it this Friday. Cost is $60 per team, and that's a 6-man team. Mayor, I expect you and other people will be out there. I see every Thursday playing. You've got some game there, so that's pretty cool. The Civil War reenactment will take place the last weekend of September, 27th, 28th, and 29th in Memorial Park. Linda Ridgway's already called me several times, crossing the T's, dotting the I's. She does an outstanding job. Had this quite a bit, and it's very popular. I think all the schools even tie in some of their Civil War activities, and they have to get a little checked off at some booths, so it's really good to see all the schools jump on that too. Lebanon Youth Football League is now underway at Abner Longley Park, and the Boys and Girls Club Soccer League is also going on at Reese Park. So just please be mindful of the little kiddos out daily and all the traffic, of course. Lap swim at the program at the high school has been delayed. This month they're having some issues with the pool. It should be done by the end of the month. So for those of you that want to join in our lap swim on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday mornings at 5:30 in the morning, call the park office at 482-8860. Sign up for that. The dog park's been very popular. I think pretty much every day we've had 1 or 2 dogs coming in the last 2 weeks. So I think we're up over 90 dogs now that are attending our dog park. So that's always a cool thing. Pumpkins in the Park will be held on Saturday, October 26th or 28th. There again, my eyes. I don't need glasses, need longer arms. Stay tuned for more information, but it's really a nice activity that she's doing. John Deere's already jumped in. They're going to do a hayride around the park. There's pumpkin decorating, and we just keep adding to it. Going to tie it into Mischief on Meridian. I think it's going to be a real nice event. Have quite a few projects we're doing now. We've aerated, seeded, and cleaned up some of the bare spots in the park. some of the trails that we put in here, just cleaning them up and getting some seed growing. Now's the time to do it. The hot pond, the conservation pond, and also the retention pond at Vincennes University. We've treated all those for the fall, so they are looking very good shape. And then we have quite a few new cameras that went online, and they'll be streaming now and recording at not only our trail system, but at Abner Longley Park along Abner Longley Drive, also the dog park and the hot pond. So really thank the police department for their contribution in that with the lit money that they had. It's really helped out a lot. Our vandalism has gone way down this year. Really happy to report, knock on wood. Hopefully we'll keep going that direction. That's all I had.
Thank you, John. Any questions for John?
John, I picked up a book for you at the AIM conference. You probably already got one, but it was a book on buildings and type things, and I'll drop that off to you first chance I get.
Great. We have a building construction meeting for the restroom project and the barn addition and the paving. That's we're meeting Friday for that. Looking forward to getting that project underway, and thank Kevin for all his hard work on that.
The other
also.
question I have was, how are people liking that new trail out there?
Oh, it's.
I mean, I see a lot of people using it now.
It is,
so.
yeah. I heard a lot of good feedback. There's still a couple people that walk the roads, but for the most part, they really enjoy and appreciate staying off the
Okay.
road. We'll probably, the next little path we'll do will be right along the baseball. That way, nobody's walking in the roads. They have access to safety all the time, so we'll look at that. But, yeah, very well received, to say the least.
Okay, all right, good.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Any questions from the public? Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next up is Engineering Department. Cam Krulik.
Good evening, board members. All right, engineering report for tonight. Looking at the downtown projects, we are, as you can probably expect, nearing the completion of that. And in fact, I am hopeful that our next meeting is the 23rd, and our contractual substantial completion date is the 24th. So I'm hoping to announce on the 23rd that we are getting ready to open the road. So we're very close to the end on this. Work completed since I was last before you. Signal pole foundations on State Road 32 and Meridian are complete. The traffic signal conduit lines are all complete at the same intersection, as well as some sidewalk demolition. I should note that those projects at State Road 32 and Meridian are not part of that completion schedule that I mentioned at the beginning of this. Because of the delays there associated with NDOT, that is not part of the contractual completion date. But we are working to complete that this fall as well. Moving to the work west on West Main Street, all the sidewalks are in, all the drives are in. Really, all the concrete at this point was wrapped up today. All the trail concrete, all the final curb tie-ins, that's all complete. That's all complete in anticipation of asphalt starting later this week. We've milled the asphalt on Patterson. We've poured all the concrete under the paver medallions along the trail. The only pavers that are left to do are where the Big Four Trail ties into Patterson Street. So we're getting real close to the end of this. Really, in the work that I expect to happen between now and our next meeting, lighting, signage, landscaping, any of those miscellaneous items left in Phase 5, that's east of Lafayette Avenue, should be completed. Topsoil backfill in Phase 6 should all be completed. And the asphalt is, as I said, starting later this week. It should take 2 to 3 days, and they'll be done with all the final asphalt work. And then we'll just be moving towards seal coating, striping, lighting, signage, landscaping, the finishing touches, really. And as I said, everything is scheduled to be complete by the 24th of the month. So coming up on us real quick here. There's really the only other things that are outstanding that are not applicable to that completion date are the intersection improvements at 32 and Meridian, as well as sidewalks along Meridian, as well as the sidewalks and some storm sewer crossings on State Road 39. We're still waiting on NDOT permits for those permit releases before we can move any of those issues forward. We expect those any day, but I believe I said that to you 2 weeks ago, and we're still waiting. And still, at this point, we are moving up the chain of command at NDOT, trying to find someone that can tell us why they are holding on to our permits at this point.
Kevin, is there like a deadline that we think, if we don't get the permits by X, we don't think we can do it this year?
We're up against that wall, to be honest. It's not so much that we couldn't get it done between now and, say December 1st when it starts snowing, but the problem that we're running into is everybody that has got work that's still ongoing wants to get it done between now and the 1st of December. So it's not so much the duration of the work that we have to do, but it's the availability of the contractors. And that's what's really putting a bind on us. Everyone seems to be confident that we can still get this done. When I say everyone, I'm referring to the contractors and their subcontractors. No one's willing to say this is the drop-dead date, but I have a feeling that it's quickly approaching. If I can't say those things are under construction when we're back here in 2 weeks, I think that's a real problem, because that basically means we're putting ourselves into October on starting these things. And no one wants to start construction projects in October. It's just
With that same discussion, how long is a permit good for, if we get it?
Oh, it's, well, if the work is still ongoing, it can stay open for quite some time. I believe if the work isn't started, I think they have a 2-year deadline, but I'd have to verify that with the state.
I'm like you, thinking of the time, and
Yeah.
everybody's busy, that it might be that west side of 39, might as well wait till spring.
Yeah, I'm
And
not
do it
willing
then, as
to
opposed to
yield
try
to
to-
that, but
I
yeah.
hate to try to do anything in the wintertime and
I know.
squeeze it in and create problems for the businesses throughout the holidays. I think that's,
I agree.
I think
agree.
spring would be a better time.
Yep. And that may be what we have to do if, like I said, if in 2 weeks from now, if we're not under construction, that may be where we need to go, is just pushing it off until the spring.
Now, the Meridian Street, are we replacing the sidewalks on Meridian Street from Main to 32?
That's the hope. We're trying to just, we're waiting to see how things shake out, with some open construction issues with, particularly in the intersection, and some utility work there that is a bit unknown because of what subsurface conditions we might find. I'm a little leery because we're right up against our, our contingency thresholds on the job to pay for that work. So we're sort of juggling that right now. I think we're going to have enough money in the contract and in the bond to do that work. We also have some money that I think is going to be left over as we get towards the end of the year in active living because of some projects that have kind of stalled for right-of-way acquisition issues, that maybe we'll shuffle those around and put those projects into next year's and use the active living money to supplement the downtown bonds to pay for that sidewalk project.
Are we still waiting on permits for Meridian and 32 intersection lights there?
We are. We had them at one time, but we had to revise and amend those permits for work on the northeast corner, some amendments that had to be done to accommodate some requests of the building owner, the Brandenburgs that own the old Montgomery Ward building on the corner. That required an amended permit, and that amended permit has been in since May.
Okay, let me ask you this. Are we going back with the big black light poles that are on Lebanon Street? Is that what's going to go in that intersection?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, my next question then would be, and I was driving through there the other day and I'm thinking, all right, if we're going to put these big black light poles back in there, there's 2 light poles between Main Street and 32.
Mm-hmm.
What's the chance we could replace those with 2 light poles that match downtown, so we have something that looks a little more conducive to everybody else than having
Yeah.
2 silver tall lights down through there?
Well,
I'm just thinking about, I know you like to
it's a
try to
very
do
good
that,
thought.
but
It's not something we had contemplated on performing at this
Yeah,
time.
I know.
But We do have 2 extra light poles in our stock that were meant to go to the street department for when and if a disaster happens and a light pole gets hit. So perhaps we could use those and order a couple of other poles. Those tall poles are long lead time items, like 20-week delivery times. So obviously, we couldn't order them today and be ready to install those this year. But like I said, we have some in stock. Really, I think we're just up against the cost associated with the wiring and the foundations.
I don't know if it has to be done this year, but
Yeah.
I think as we finish that project out, I think that would be something we ought to plan to change those out so it all looks the same going down through there.
I think that's a very fair point. Last time I met with the deputy commissioner from MnDOT, though, for our district, I mentioned to him that I think they want to look at that intersection a little bit, because I think it's very tight for a fairly large intersection of 2 state highways. So I think there are some discussions we want to have with them of if there's a redesign there before we go install these big poles and then have to move them again later, something like that. So that's something we've talked about before as well.
Well, the 2 I was talking about are the 2 down there by the alley.
You're talking about street lights.
I'm talking street lights down at the alley.
That's what
I
I was
thought you were talking
referring
about
to.
signal poles.
No,
I'm sorry.
I was
Okay.
talking about the 2 street lights down by the alleys. There's one on both sides.
Yeah.
Of the
Oh, I see
street.
what
I
you
thought
mean,
to
okay.
change those out to black.
And that's what I was
So we
addressing as well. I
downtown
think we
would-
could possibly
match all
do
the way
that.
down
I'm
through
sorry, I
there.
thought you meant the signal poles at 32 and
No.
39.
Yeah.
That'd
Okay.
make it all uniform, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I just think it'd make it more uniform, looking down the street.
Right.
That's what I was thinking.
But you're absolutely right. To your point, Mayor, it would be nice that the last intersection would be completed. I know the state is planning to resurface 32 next year and 39, I think, in 2 more years. Maybe that's something, if we talk with our friends at NDOT, we could convince them with some participation from the city. Let's be honest, they're not going to put in decorative poles without us picking up the difference of cost. But-
Just file the permits now, I guess, right?
32 is going to get very rough before they get to paving it.
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
And that
I-
intersection
We've been
is-
pushing them on it, and that's why they've done some strip patching. but
Just
it's-
another FYI at the, at the AIM conference through the city council meeting, and that was one of the first questions that brought up. Well, one of the questions was, trying to get discussion started, and I go, how can we get NDOT off their behinds and issue us permits so we can get jobs done? And that was the whole discussion in the room for about 15 minutes, because every community that was in there had the same problem. Same problem with NDOT.
And I'm sympathetic. There has been a lot of turnover in the Crawfordsville office over the last year, and particularly in their permits division. It's basically an entire new team that's running that section, and I think we're feeling some of that pain as they're getting up to speed with things. But yeah.
Just wanted to share that with you.
Yep, understood. It's very much a reality for what I'm living day to day at this point. But I do remind everyone, we're not done yet. Keep supporting your downtown businesses. Keep looking for the daily updates on Facebook from the Heart of Lebanon. We thank Joe LePage and the rest of the team at the Heart on what they're doing there to promote downtown. So we just remind everyone to continue their support there. And hopefully, in 2 weeks, we're talking about a grand opening there.
Oh, one more thing. I'll just make this comment and I'm sure all of you have noticed the same thing, but I know it's getting fall and the flowers are starting to change a little bit, but anyway, it just, to me, how nice downtown has looked with the growth finally coming up. And if you think about what it's going to look like in the next year and the year after that, as it matures more, it's just going to get that much more nicer, so.
And you'll see some fall color in some of
Yeah.
the downtown plants too, as they begin to go dormant, especially in the grasses and things like that. So you'll see a slightly different color palette start to emerge in the next few weeks.
Yeah,
So,
so,
very good.
thanks for all the hard work on that.
Oh, there's a lot of people helping. East Street project, a couple trees will be going in this fall, replacing some dead ones. Nothing really further to mention there. No updates on the northern interchange. We're still waiting for announcements. It should be in at the end of the year, first of next. Pavement resurfacing, I don't have a definitive date yet from our contractor, but I'm told that they were finish up some work elsewhere in the county and should be here later this month to get into all of our street resurfacing projects. Keep in mind, we've got 3 community crossing grant applications that are in for consideration. We should hear about that sometime in October, which is crazy. That's just around the corner at this point. So once we hear that we've been awarded, we will move forward with bidding those projects for next year's construction. Other things that are still ongoing, the sidewalk program, I mentioned that earlier. We're moving forward with some right-of-way acquisition work. At this point, other than a few sidewalk cost-sharing things that are still left to do this year, a couple of ADA repairs that we'll have to make, at this point, I think any real bulk sidewalk replacement, other than the downtown stuff, is probably done for the year. What we will, as we go through the rest of this right-of-way acquisition issue, the plan would be to bid the remaining work for this year as well as next year's program list as we get into November and December, and have everything ready to go for the spring of 2020. Big Four Trail, again, the grant application cycle is coming up on us here this fall. I think there's more discussion at the council meeting later tonight about that issue. So we're excited of that, and I can't tell you how important I feel that us investing in trails throughout the city and connections into the county are extremely important. We hear that a lot from residents and young professionals and young families, that there's nothing probably more important on their list of things that they want in communities. So we encourage everyone to continue to support those efforts. Street Department material unit price bids, again, we will be bidding that in November, just like we will the sidewalk program for next year. Moving down to Indianapolis Avenue, keep in mind we're in the middle of Phase 2. Those, so we have the southbound lanes, the southbound lanes are still open for northbound traffic. That may be confusing, but you can drive north on where you would normally drive south. We've been underway for a couple of weeks now, and we've still got basically through the end of next week on storm sewer. If things go well, that should wrap up all the storm sewer work in Phase 1. The bulk of the storm sewer work, in Phase 2. The bulk of the storm sewer work for Phases 2 and 3 is really in Phase 2. The trunk line, most of the work, most of the stormwater quality structures are in Phase 2. Once we get to Phase 3, there's only about, there's less than 2 weeks of work on storm, and we're moving forward with that. So work expected before we get back before you. I do expect the storm sewer to wrap up, as I said, by the 20th. Light pole basis should also be in by the 20th, and we will be preparing subgrade the week that we're back before you for the next meeting, getting ready for soil stabilization. Looking forward on the timelines, what everybody really wants to know, the current schedule that I received today from the contractor has curbs on Phase 2, wrapping up at approximately the 15th of October, asphalt wrapping up the 21st of October, and then open to traffic around the 15th of November. We would then immediately switch over into Phase 3. Storm sewer would be wrapped up by the 25th of November, and then going into curbs, that should be complete around mid-December, and then asphalt in mid to late December, and not looking for an opening until the 13th of January. Now, keep in mind, this is an NDOT contract, and NDOT does not require any work to be completed once we cross into December. But we are committed, and so are the contractors, committed to getting base and intermediate down and opening the road to traffic in both directions before winter gets here. So we need a little bit of help on maintaining good temperatures from now through middle of December, and that schedule I just ran out also assumes that we're going to completely wrap up Phase 2 before we start Phase 3. We're meeting with the contractor tomorrow afternoon, try to mesh those two schedules together. I think I can pick up 2 weeks and be ready to pave the Phase 3 project the first week of December, which is much more realistic. we would still have construction that will have to go into next year. And I guarantee you, they're not going to fight weather through January and December to try to pour sidewalks and things of that nature. That effectively would mean we would be back in the spring for sidewalks, for landscaping, for signage, for striping. But we would have an open, travelable, that's a weird word, traversable road for the winter in both directions. That is the plan that we're trying to work towards. Look for updates on the city Facebook page under the hashtag on the Ave. There's a lot going on down there. It might not seem like a lot of updates lately because it's basically storm sewer work. There's not been a whole lot of changes in trades at this point, but that will begin to change here shortly. Grant Street, we're basically in the middle of permitting at this point. We're meeting with the county surveyor's office. We're meeting with the state and feds on all the permitting that have to be done. Obviously, this is a complex project when you're talking about federal dollars, and we're just starting the permit process to be able to construct that in 2023. So, and we'll need most of that time. So, a lot going on there. A couple other private project updates around the city. Sunbrook, the Sunbrook development, the utility work is still ongoing. Water, storm sewer, sanitary sewer, although I believe most of the sanitary sewer is in the ground. Water and storm is still ongoing. Curbs and asphalt are expected to go in October. Sunbrook Villas, I met with the developer again today. They're still working on finalizing their construction drawings and finalizing their county approval for some off-site reconstruction of legal drains. And once they have those approvals from the county, they expect to start work later this fall with moving dirt and reconstructing that off-site drainage tile, but don't look to have streets in until the spring. They would expect, they did tell me they would expect between Sunbrook and Sunbrook Villas probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 homes to be built next year. So they're excited and moving that forward quickly. Gateway Marketplace, the asphalt is complete. The road is still not open to traffic. Again, we're waiting on NDOT permits before the signal can be finalized and we can open the road. Moe's Southwest Grill and Burger King are both pulled permits and should be starting shortly. No further updates on that. Our Brownfield Grant Program testing will commence the 1st of October. Happy to report Culver's has demoed the old Bob Evans and will be starting their building construction immediately. And then last but certainly not least, we will be updating our PASER scores and our pavement asset management plan this fall pursuant to NDOT and LTAP requirements.
Always a lot of information. Any other questions from the board? No. Any questions from the public? Okay, thank you, Kevin. All right, next up is Planning Department. I guess it's still you, right?
Still me.
I thought he walked right into it a while ago.
Mr. Bontrager is not able to be with us this evening. Unfortunately, he had a mountain biking accident over the weekend and is kind of laid up at home with a very, very bad shoulder. So I'm sure he sends his regards. Just have some statistic updates from the Planning Department from the period of 8/27 through today, 9/9. You can see building permits are beginning to slow down as we go into fall. We've, as well as inspections. We had 49 inspections in that time period, as well as 26 permits were issued. 2 for new residential construction, 8 for HVAC, 1 for an accessory structure, 3 for fencing, 3 for roofing, 2 for plumbing, 1 for electrical, and 1 lucky family is getting a brand new pool. No commercial permits were issued in that time period. Code enforcement actions in the same time period. We had 4 unsafe structure inspections. There were 32 inspections and/or follow-up inspections on trash and debris. One of those was a storage container that there was a complaint on. We've had several vehicle and parking inspections and code enforcement actions on. 2 for parked recreational vehicles, 5 for parking over the sidewalk, 16 for parking in the grass, 2 for junk vehicles, and 1 for blocking the alleyway. Grass and weed inspections, we've had 19 grass and weed inspections and/or follow-up inspections in that time period. One was an alley complaint that was obviously forwarded to the street department and addressed quickly. One unsafe swimming pool inspection. Two sign complaints that were actually public signs, and those were forwarded to the street department to address those, as well as a complaint on a sidewalk that was also forwarded to the street department. We've also been working with a lot of individuals on grass clippings, we put together an educational brochure for landlords. We've done an educational piece to the reporter, as well as a brochure that's been circulated on social media, and the street department got a similar brochure put into the Lebanon utilities bills, just to warn people of the dangers of blowing your clippings out into the road, and what that can cause especially for motorcyclists and cyclists as they might be going up and down the road. So we want people to just be mindful of that and try to keep the streets clean. And that information from the street department that was distributed through the utility bill also talked about where to put your leaves for fall cleanup. We do want the leaves in the gutter is where we want those. That's the easiest place for our equipment to reach to pick those up. If they're further up into the yard, we just can't be as efficient in getting those. It takes more time because a lot of times then we have to get out of the truck. The street department personnel has to get out of the truck and rake those leaves out into the street where the vacuum machines can get them. So try to put your leaves in the gutter if you can, and we'll get it picked up as soon as they start falling here in a couple of weeks. That's all I have.
Any questions for planning for Kevin? No. Any questions from the public? Okay, thank you, sir. Next up is Street and Stormwater Department. Dave Newell.
How's it going tonight? Street department's been out patching potholes, of course. We'll be back out again this week. We put out like 3.5 ton last week, so trying to stay ahead so we get them done before winter hits. Brush and chipper truck's been out very, very busy. So we have our weekly customers on that, so we try to stay ahead of it. Stormwater crew's been very busy as well, repairing some structures and cleaning structures and the pipes, getting ready for winter as well, getting ready to wrap that up probably here pretty soon. Like Kevin said, we start leaf season around October sometime. We continue to have the street sweeper out as well. We'll have it out until cold time hits. We try to use it when we're doing leaves so we can get the gutters and everything if we can. We did have one tree go down during the last storm. We had help from Kurt Freshour cleaned it up for us. It hit on a house and stuff, so it was all rotted out, so we had it taken down. And fall cleanup is Friday, October 4th and Saturday, October 5th, 7 to 4. Just giving everybody a little heads up since it's the first.
What was that date again?
October 4th and 5th, Friday and Saturday, 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. And just to remind them, because they keep asking us, we don't come to them, they come to us.
Any questions for Dave? Oh, sorry, you done?
No, yeah, we just been getting a lot of complaints about the grass and brush clogging storm drains. So we're just trying to stay on that, and we've had 119 calls since the last meeting, so that's all I got.
Okay, thank you, Dave. Any questions from the board? Questions from the public? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And last, communications and development. Kevin again, I guess, pinch hitter.
I believe Coach LePage is at a tennis match tonight. I have the communications report for September 9th. Tickets are now live for the community meal, Unite Under the Lights. This is the meal that Community Development is organizing for on Meridian Street under the catenary lighting. This will be held October 5th. Tickets are $50 per person. You do need a ticket. Look at the city's Facebook page, and you'll see links to that where you can get to the Eventbrite page to buy those tickets. You have to hurry. First 50 people is what this is limited to. This will be, as I said, downtown under the catenary lighting. There will be some exciting live jazz music. This is a formal dinner event, white linen tablecloths. More details to follow, but this sounds like it's going to be a really unique and interesting event for our downtown. So we're excited. Get your tickets. Tiger statues, this is still in the painting phase. I believe several of the The taggers are complete at this point. I've seen pictures of the street department and the parks department, and I think some of the fire stations are wrapping theirs up as well. But all of them, as I understand from Joe's report, are beginning to wrap up, and you'll see those start being displayed here shortly. And then the last update on the Lebanon legend Craig Terrell video that Joe is putting together. That is also beginning to wrap up. Joe has reached out to Purdue as well as the Seattle Seahawks for footage of Mr. Terrell's career, and so look for that to be posted here shortly. That's all I have.
All right, thank you, Kevin, appreciate it. All right, that concludes department head reports. We'll move on to old business, and I don't have anything on my agenda. Anything from the board?
No.
Okay, we'll move into new business. The first thing here is just the street closure request for the Lebanon High School homecoming parade. This isn't a traditional street closure, it's more of a rolling closure, so we'll do this on homecoming. I believe it's Friday night, I believe, always? Yeah, Friday night. So just entertain a motion real quick to approve the rolling closure for the homecoming parade.
I make a motion, we approve the rolling closure Friday for the homecoming.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. Hopefully those kids will have fun with that. And then next up is an approval agreement with NDOT. Kevin, do you want to talk about this for State Road 32 West?
Yeah, the short of this, I'm going to ask you guys to table this one tonight. This came in at the last minute as we were putting the agenda together. So we wanted to get it on the agenda if we needed to act. I have too many questions and concerns to pass the red face test before you and tell you this agreement is ready. So I think we just need to take this up later in the month. I'm not even for sure. We did not expect this agreement. This just came out of the blue. It was hand-delivered by some NDOT official who we can't even locate. And we have a lot of questions and concerns, and I'm not even so sure that we should be executing this agreement because, as I think some of you noted, there are a lot of commitments in this agreement that, well, we're halfway through construction, for one, why we should be taking responsibility at this point now on a developer sought permit for this signal. Surely we support the signal. This is for the Gateway Marketplace intersection at Ping Drive. But I don't want to unfairly burden the city with this agreement. So until I get some more answers from NDOT, and I promise you we've made several calls to them trying to get these answers, but as of 5 o'clock today, we do not have those answers yet, so I'm asking you to table this, and if we need to, we will reconsider it at the next meeting.
Great. With that, we'll entertain a motion to table the NDOT State Road 32 West agreement.
I'll make a motion, we table item B, the agreement with NDOT, State Road 32 West.
Okay, we have a motion to table. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. That's put on the table, and then we will address that as needed at a future date. Tanya mentioned this to me. We're getting a little chill in the air, and it's that time of the year people start asking when Halloween will be. As per our city tradition, we always have Halloween on October 31st from 6 to 9, so I just thought we'd act quickly and let them know. Now they have 2 whole months to know when it is, and so then we set those dates. So if there's any other discussion or concerns from the board, again, this is the way it's been for a long time. Okay. So we entertain a motion to set the Halloween hours from 6 to 9 on October 31st. You guys disagree with that, or we should motion, or no?
Well, I'll make a motion that we approve Halloween for October 31st between 6 and 9.
6 to 9 p.m., just to clarify that.
Right.
Okay. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. Now, anybody on social media? It is October 31st from 6 to 9. Okay. Any other new business come before the board? Okay. We'll move on to claims then. We'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the claims.
We have a motion to approve the claims. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. Claims are approved. And any other announcements or discussion? Okay. We'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn. I'll give it to Dave.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, we are adjourned. The city council meeting will begin at 7:15.